And of course, we lived there during the crisis situation with Central High.
Oh, really?
We were living in Little Rock during that time, and Johnny was driving a truck.
Okay.
You know, and by then he'd been driving Little Rock to St. Louis all the time, all those years. But by this time, by the time that happened, he had a run that took him down through eastern Arkansas, you know, down through Stuttgart, Marianna, Forest City, all those towns. And so he left home at just the right time for the children in our neighborhood that went to Central High to ride to school with him. So he would take those young people, and he would take them to school in the mornings as he went on to work.
Wow.
And he would drop them off. And so because we had two families that lived right across the street that had children there, or young people there, and so he would drop them off at school. And so when that happened, it was really sad for us, because those children had to go. Some went to Searcy to an aunt and uncle or something, and the other family went to Texas, you know, during that time to go to school and all. So it was such a hard time for everybody, but we were there when that all took place.
Wow. I'm sure it was on the tip of everybody's tongues.
But that was it, you know, such a huge thing, and to close the school and so forth like they did. And then we later in years, we did both go back to Central High and spoke to a group in Central High.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. What'd y'all talk about?
Probably about our life experiences.
Okay.
And he spoke first, and I had not planned to speak.
Okay.
This is funny how we would do, you know. So he never prepared a speech, and I never prepared a speech. I can't prepare for what we're going to do today. It has to be just what we talk about. And that's the way he was. But on the way down, he was going to be speaking to all these high school kids and everything. I said, Johnny, you need to talk to them about, you need to tell them about this, you need to tell them about this, you need to tell them about that, you know. And he just say, okay, you know. So he gets up and he talks to the kids and all, and it's so funny, because he was great. He was just great making a speech. He never prepared, but he just spoke from his heart and what he thought they needed to hear at that time. And when he finished, he said, okay, now Miss Hunt has something she would like to tell you about.
Put you on the spot there.
He just called on me on the spur of the moment. He said, well, you told me what to say, so I thought I'd just let you. So it was fun. We had a good time that day at Central High. We really did.
So I guess that kind of leads into something else I was going to ask you about, which is like, you know, when it comes to education, or maybe early childhood education, we don't necessarily say high school, but to pre-K and that kind of stuff. What role do you feel like corporations should play, or in your case does play? You know.
Well, I think that J.D. Hunt Transport, for one thing, they have this big thing that they do with children in schools, drivers going to schools and those kind of things. You can see it on Facebook when they'll have something on there about what their drivers have done. So they support schools by going to elementary and so forth and helping the kids and that kind of thing. And Johnny and I have just always been, you know, we're very much into education. He, as you probably have heard, just went to the 7th grade, and he had in a one-room school up in that area your grandfather lives in now, in that area. And so he had to drop out of school and start cutting timber in that part of the country, you know. His uncle had a sawmill in Edgemont.
Okay.
So you know where Edgemont is.
It's an old community, right?
It's a little community right there. And it had the railroad that ran through it, so it was more of a thriving community at one time, but it still is there, and still is, you know, with everything. But he had to quit school, so he very much believed in that everybody should have an education and so forth. And we have a school in Springdale. It's the J.D. Hunt Elementary School in Springdale. Okay. And when they first opened that school, we were able to go and be there for the children and be there with all of them, and we loved it. We had such a great time there, and we were up on the stage, and the children, each class would come on stage and do a little presentation and give us gifts, and it was so great. And then there was another time that we went back, and he loved that time. And on Monday, before he fell that next Saturday when he had his accident and then passed away, that Monday, just before that Saturday, we had been to Dallas, and we were coming back, and we flew right over the school. I mean, we had such a view down low because we flew into Springdale at that school. And Jay said, Johnelle, I want us to go back to the school and see the children. And I said, we will. Well, he said, no, I want us to go back. I want to go back now. You know, I want us to go back now. I really want us to put that on our schedule. I said, okay, we'll do that. And that was on Monday, and on Saturday he fell. And you know, when we were in the hospital, and the hospital was so good to us. They gave us, in Springdale, they gave us a great big room, and we had so many people there all the time, all during the day. You know, this big room was just full of people. And he fell on Saturday, and on Monday, they brought us a big box of cards, and all these children, every child in that school, had taken some construction paper and made cards for him, and like get well cards. And I know one card said like, Mr. Hunt, I fell one day and hit my head, and I know how bad it hurts. And those cards got us through that 5 days, because everybody would come in, would read those cards. It was the sweetest thing, and what that meant to me, that those children knew what was going on with him, and they cared. And because I would hear the remark like, well, I go to J.B. Hunt School, you know, they think he owns the school or something, because he built the school or something, and all, because little children, they're just so sweet, and they just think the simplest of terms. And then when he passed away, they brought me another big box of cards, and then, you know, those are treasures. They are just treasures to me, and all. So they helped me through that time, and I went once and read to the children, and I'm scheduled to go back in just a few weeks. I'm going back to the school, and we're so fortunate in Northwest Arkansas. We have great schools all over Northwest.
What do you do when you go back there?
I'll go back and I'll speak. I went there year before last, I guess, and I spoke to a group there at the school to just, maybe they were the, let's see, I can't remember which grade it was, maybe 5th grade, something like that. So I did that, or maybe it was yes, I guess it was. Anyway, I'll go back and speak to that group.
Well, tell me,
the children there, whatever they want me to do, that's what I'll do.
Whatever they want you to talk about.
Whatever they want me to do.
So tell me, Johnelle, like, how does the process work behind the naming of the school after J.B. Hunt? Like, tell me.
We gave a gift to the Springdale schools, and then they gave them. And that's one thing about Springdale. Their schools in Springdale are named after the people of the area that have given to them. And when we first moved here, we moved to Springdale. And we lived in Springdale for 17 years. And so we've always been very connected to Springdale, very connected. Then we moved out. We have a ranch out east of Fayetteville, about 7 miles. So our address is a Fayetteville address. And then we have a home in this area. And so I live both places. I live some of both. And so we call it Northwest Arkansas because we're part of Northwest Arkansas. And we'll give to, like, the schools in Springdale. And I have a brother that's a coach. He's been a coach for many years. He's now off the coaching staff, but he's still involved in the Springdale school system. He's a younger brother. He's 17 years younger than I am. So he's still able to go to work every day like that. And so I really support Springdale athletics because that's what he's always been involved in. And I may get a call and he'll say, we're going so-and-so, you know, across the state, and we'd sure like to have a nice bus to go on. And I am so thankful that I can say, get the bus. I can do that. So that they can go on a nice big bus than what so many times they travel on school buses, which that's fine, but on long trips for them to have a nice coach like to go on. And so I'm just blessed that I can then turn around and say, you get that for them. Or like he'll say, we're going to be, I know, you know, maybe they were in Hot Springs at one time, and he called and he says, okay, if I, you know, I want to pay for a base meal. The team, you know, or I love being able to do things like that.